It started with a lie. A king, Minos, begged the sea god for a sign of favor. Poseidon sent a bull, divine, flawless, meant to be sacrificed. Changed his mind when he saw how beautiful it was. Thought he could cheat the divine. Thought no one would notice. That's when the sea god smiled. You plant seeds. Quiet ones. Rotten ones. Minos's wife, Pasiphae, queen of Crete, was made to love the bull. A craftsman was summoned. He built a hollow sculpture. She climbed inside. That night, the palace didn't sleep. Servants whispered. The sea grew louder. The next morning, the queen smiled like nothing happened, and 9 months later, the kingdom screamed. You weren't born. You were released. You had hooves, a human chest, a bull's skull, and eyes that didn't blink, just stared, hands that trembled like they didn't belong to themselves. You wailed when you arrived, but no one came. Only servants, trembling, whispering, afraid to meet your eyes. So they move you, beneath the palace, beneath the earth. They build you a place with no exits and no sky. And when the last brick falls behind them, they pretend you were never born. Because powerful people will do anything to save face, even if it means hiding you in the dark. They didn't kill you. Instead, they built you a palace. One with no doors, no windows, just walls. Endless, turning, whispering walls. They called it the labyrinth, a marvel of engineering. They placed you at the center. They leave you in the dark. At first, you screamed, kicked, called for someone, anyone. The echoes sounded like laughter. The walls pulse with heat during the day, freeze at night. Or maybe that's your body breaking its own rhythm. You don't know when time is. You sleep when your legs stop working. You dream of open fields you'd never seen. You eat when the ceiling drips something that doesn't kill you. You grow, tall, wide, strong, but not for anything. There's no use for strength in a place without escape. You run, you scream, you claw, you hurl yourself against the walls, just to hear something, anything, break. It's always you. You find a water pooled in a crack. You look in, and you scream again, because you didn't know that you would look like that. You swipe at it, shattering the image into ripples. Then you claw at your own face, hoping you were just dirty, just dreaming. You tried to remember what your mother's voice sounded like. Failed. At first, it felt like emptiness. It was gradual, a slow, rising heat behind the ribs. It started like thirst, then ache, then pressure, until it felt like your bones were trying to eat themselves. You tried everything. Lichen on the walls, moss from the corners, stale water pooled in the cracks. You chewed stone, swallowed gravel, scraped your horns raw trying to break through the walls. You howled just to drown out the growling in your own gut. You bled from the mouth, because you were biting your own hands. Then one day a sound, steps, skin, scent, a human, sent here, on purpose. You backed away, hid in the dark, covered your nose, dug your claws into your stomach. They were young, too young. Their torch barely lit your corner of the world. They didn't see you at first, but you saw them, and something inside you split. Your stomach screamed, your bones itched, your mouth flooded. You wept, shook, slammed your head against the wall until the hunger paused. You told yourself, I will not. You whispered it until it became a mantra, a hymn of resistance, a dying prayer. Then they screamed, saw your shape, ran, and something snapped. You moved, not fast, not wild, just toward them, not to kill, to beg, but you were too large, too loud. They fell. The torch hit stone, and you fell with them. You don't remember the first bite. Only the second, the warmth, the way the taste made your vision blur. You wanted to stop. Gods, you wanted to stop. But the body kept moving, kept tearing, kept chewing. Afterwards, silence. You didn't scream. Curled in a corner, so small your spine cracked. And you whispered the only word you knew anymore. Sorry. You said it 100 times. To the bones. To the walls. To yourself. The hunger was gone. But it left something worse behind. Shame. Not because you were a monster, because you hadn't always been. The second time was easier. That's what scared you. The third time, you stopped counting. Minos kept sending them. Criminals, they said. Traitors. Sacrifices. You wanted to believe it. Needed to believe it. That this wasn't punishment. That you were something necessary. You let them run. Sometimes, you hide. They still die. They scream. They stumble. They starve. Then they reach you. And when they do, they see the horns, the teeth, the bulk. They never see the corner you sleep in. The tally marks you carved into stone, then stopped counting. The labyrinth warped around you. Not physically, spiritually. You stopped tracking days. You forgot your name. Forgot your voice. You roared once. Not to scare, but to remember how sound worked. It echoed wrong. Like something else was down there, pretending to be you. You found claw marks that weren't yours. Footprints you didn't remember making. Eventually, you gave up looking for an exit. Not because you believed there wasn't one, but because what if there was? What would you do with freedom? What would the world do with you? You stopped trying to escape the maze and started becoming it. Then one day the air changes. Not colder, not darker, just alert, like the walls are holding their breath. You hear footsteps, not stumbling, not panicked, measured, steady, confident in the way only fools and heroes can be. You wait in the heart of the maze. He walks like he belongs here. He speaks, not to you, to himself, or maybe to the gods. He's carrying something, a blade, bronze, shimmering. You watch from the dark. You follow, at a distance. You don't stalk. You observe. You try to understand. You wait. Maybe this is it. Maybe you'll get to stop counting days by the echoes in stone. Maybe you'll stop dreaming of sun on skin you've never had. Maybe the hunger will finally shut up. He's younger than you expected. Smaller. But there's fire in his chest. Not fear. Not pity. Purpose. You wonder what they told him. That you're a beast. A punishment. A monster that must be slain. You wonder if he's ever questioned it. He finds you near the center, where the stones are cracked and the air tastes like iron. He flinches, but doesn't run. You see it in his eyes, fear dressed as duty. Or maybe it's the other way around. The fight isn't glorious. It's short, brutal, clumsy. You charge, not because you hate him, but because it's all you've ever been allowed to be. He dodges, slashes. You bleed. It's not the pain that surprises you. It's how warm it feels. You've forgotten that part. You roar. He stumbles. You grab him. You hesitate. He doesn't. The blade sinks in. Not deep. Not at first. Just enough to remind you. This was never going to end another way. You fall. Slow. Heavy. Tired in a way that feels older than your bones. He stands over you. Chest heaving. Eyes searching your face for something. A snarl. A curse. A final attack. You give him none. You want to speak. You want to say, you don't have to. I've already lost. But your throat isn't made for mercy anymore. He lifts the blade. You take a step closer. Not to fight. To end it. This isn't a battle. It's a burial. And you're the tomb. He stabs. You don't dodge. The blade sinks deep. You drop to your knees. Not from pain, but from relief. The last thing you see is his hand shaking. The thread behind him trembling. The world calls him a hero. But he only won a war that was never yours to fight. The blade goes in. You exhale, the first real breath in years. You loosen your grip. You lower your head. And you fall.